Hey everyone, happy Monday. Welcome to another episode of Bros Who Know. We want you to know that it's a combination of education and entertainment, or as Rich and I like to say, edutainment. I'm Dr. Jeff LaCure, and I'm here with my podcast partner, the Darth Vader of podcasts, Richard Yancey. And we got another good one for you today. We're gonna talk about a really powerful topic today: violence, and why there's such an increase in violence. And in just a few moments, we're gonna show you a video of something that took place last week in Miami. We're gonna show you a video of a 9-year-old girl who literally just got the shit kicked out of her.
That's crazy.
By apparently a 14-year-old boy and either another 9 or 10-year-old boy. I don't know anything about the perpetrator's backgrounds, but what I do know, Rich, is that this 9-year-old girl covered her head and got pummeled for 18 seconds. And I'd like to say that this is rare. I'd like to say that this video, this incident that got captured on video is rare. But what you and I know is this kind of spontaneous, horrific violence that's going across America isn't rare at all. Matter of fact, Rich, and then I'll give it to you, it's almost rare when a day goes by that we don't hear about a kid bringing a gun to school, somebody shooting up a mall, somebody shooting up the Chinese New Year, somebody walking up to somebody in the subway and pushing them down, somebody walking into a CVS to rip them off and then shooting the clerk for absolutely no reason. So I think what we'd like to do now is to show you this video, and then Rich and I are going to give you some feedback on it.
Alarming new video tonight shows the chaos that broke out on a school bus. Kids savagely fighting, a third-grade girl beaten up. You can see several children beating on a child in Homestead in a video that's going viral. The students from Coconut Palm K-8 Academy, one appears to be a much older student. Miami-Dade Schools police arrested the accused offender, and police say they will be facing charges. The third grader's mother says there's been several incidents of bullying involving her daughter and other children as well. The district releasing a statement saying in part, quote, "The safety and well-being of our students is of the utmost importance. This school district goes to great lengths to promote the values of restraint and respect, as well as using social media responsibly. We ask that parents reinforce these principles at home," end quote.
Jeff, I'm telling you, that hurts.
Mm-hmm.
That hurts. And there was another, I think there was another situation where a kid brought a gun to school and shot a teacher too.
That's
okay,
right.
We can't,
6 years old.
obviously we can't put all the videos out, but
6 years old, Rich.
there's definitely something going on, and I think it's like an epidemic. I don't know what's going on. It's almost like, I swear to God, it's like these people have rabies or something.
Yeah.
Something crazy going on. So these parents must have a hard time now.
Yeah.
How do you bring your child to a school now?
That's
right.
right.
I feel confident that they're
That's
going
right.
to be protected.
Man, that's the question, Rich.
So I think at this point what we need to do is, I think every parent has to be a parent at this point. I think they have to forget about what the teachers say. I think they have to sit down with their kids and learn and understand their own child.
That's right.
Know what their child, capable of. Because these kids, they're creating heinous crimes for being that young.
That's right.
So we have to figure that out.
Well, I tell you, Rich, you mentioned about parents, and you talk about it in the plural sense. And here's what we know. And I don't know the background of these two kids who beat the hell out of this girl. I don't know their background. But I do know this background. I know that 85 to 90% of men who are in prison right now had no active father figure in their life. I know that most of these kids who are committing these kinds of weird, sort of over-the-top violent crimes, whether it's against themselves or someone else, have no active father in their lives. And you and I think, did a wonderful podcast on the death of masculinity. Well, you know what else is dying, Rich? Fathers. You and I take that so seriously, and yet we have so many kids now, so many families children who are being raised without a dad. Let me throw out just the national stats, Rich. I'd be interested to see what you think. White families, just over 50% of all families do not have an active father in the house. I mean, that is just sad.
You said white families.
White families.
Wow, okay.
About 59% of all Latino families do not have an active father in the family. And about 75%, 3 out of 4 of our black families, have a single-led family led by a mom. And we know for a fact, these aren't refutable. We talk about we're being irrefutable. These are irrefutable stats. That when you have an active father in the home, the likelihood that a child graduates high school increases 10 times. The likelihood that a daughter gets pregnant while in high school decreases almost 5 times. The likelihood that she ends up in poverty decreases almost 10 times just by having a father. And as I already presented, with 85% of the men, and I use that term loosely, so I'm going to have to say males, are in prison and have no father, the math is irrefutable. And I will be very interested to find out if these 2 kids who pummeled this 9-year-old girl had an active father. Statistically, sadly, we can assume that they don't. Because what dads provide is a guideline, a standard of life, values. You talked about it so eloquently when we talked about the death of masculinity, Rich. What's your thoughts on really the absence of fathers in homes today?
I think that's I think that's a problem. I don't think it's the problem. I think the problem is that parents are not doing their job because government they don't want us to do it. You can't discipline your child anymore. If you tell your child to stay in the room and you take out you tell them they can't watch TV, or you take away their games, that's considered cruel now. You know what I mean? When I was going to school, listen, if it snowed outside, right, and we had a couple of inches of snow, I'm going to school. If we had a foot of snow, I'm going to school. And if I didn't go to school, I would get in trouble. My mother would tell me, listen, if you're not going to school today, you're not going outside today. So you can't have one without the other. I'm telling you, you're trying to change Mother Nature, like how you do things. There's always going to be bullies. There's always going to be, parents going to discipline their kids. There's a difference between disciplining your kid and abusing your kid. Now, if you're a drunk person, you come home and you just hit your kid, that's abuse. But if your kid did something wrong, they have to show accountability for that. And when you punish that child, what that do is create value that we always talk about. But what also it does is they pay for the crime, so they won't do it again. But if you give them a sense of direction. But if you just allow them to do whatever they want, this is inevitable. Of course, you're going to have situations like this where if my daughter hit another boy, I would talk to her.
Imagine what you would do if that was your 9-year-old.
It did happen to me. So my daughter got hit. My daughter got hit when she was in school, and she came off she was talking about, because my daughter and I, we always joke. We joke about our legs. She jokes about my legs being skinny, and we have fun. So she was on the bus, and she's like, you got skinny legs, right? And the kid got upset. He couldn't handle it, so he hit her, right? When I talked to the parents, they said, they made a picture. They drew a picture. I had them draw a picture, and it was an apology picture, right? And the parent said to me, well, don't have your kid make fun of my kid. I thought, that's where we are today. I said, no, listen, jokes are jokes.
It's ownership.
You have to discipline your child, and if you don't, right, the law is going to discipline them. So you either discipline them in the house,
but
right,
not well.
or the law is going to discipline them.
Well, I see. I'm going to be curious to see what happens with those 2 boys that beat this 9-year-old girl.
I'm telling what's going to happen. I'm telling what. How
Put it this way: if I'm in charge, which I'm not, they never ride that bus again. The parents have to bring these kids to and from school. They have given up their right to it. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if I'd let these kids attend that school. Well, that's how over the top this violence was.
Listen, a little kid shot a teacher, and got away with it. So.
Well, the good news is Superintendent got fired.
Okay, but listen, okay.
Somebody took a fall.
All right, so how about this, all right? Instead of saying sorry.
Where was the bus driver when this 9-year-old girl was getting pumped? This is what I'm saying.
Instead of saying sorry and I'm sorry, why don't we start from the root cause, which is.
Well, I gave you the root cause.
Yeah, you have to. Parents have to be parents again.
But see, you're using plural, and I'm telling you, the majority of families, sadly, Richard, there's no dad.
Listen, I was a single dad. I disciplined my daughter. We had big no, little no.
But see, you were involved.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
You were involved.
But I tell you something.
Did your daughter graduate high school?
Yes, but here's the thing.
No, I'm giving you a compliment.
Right, no.
Didn't get pregnant.
Listen, but this is what I'm saying.
Career,
but I did.
Not in jail.
I did something different than most parents did. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, it was a
fight.
It was a fight. Because what happened is that the rest of the world, while I punished my daughter, the rest of the world said, listen, that's okay. Like, you get another chance. You get another chance. Everyone gets trophies now. It's
That's
like,
right.
there is no chance. Like, even like when you play a game, right? The rules of the world rules. You don't say to your kid, okay, all right, you made a mistake this time, so I'm gonna. No. If they have to lose. You can't let them win.
That's right.
Because life is not gonna let you win.
See, but you did it. See, I'm
Yeah, but
complimenting
I'm just one
you, Rich.
person though.
I know.
You did it too.
Oh, 100%.
And it's
We
not
did
done
it.
yet. Listen, I'm talking. She's in nursing school now, right?
See, she's in school.
Yeah, but she hasn't finished yet. So
But
we
you
haven't
know,
done
if
yet.
you weren't in her life, statistically, her likelihood of success goes way down.
Well, yeah.
But you took an active role in being a father. You set the boundaries, right?
I went against the grain. That's not a normal thing now.
No, I'm complimenting. I'm not. I'm
No,
not
listen.
knocking
I
you.
appreciate.
Compliment.
I appreciate your compliment. But what I'm saying to you is,
Do you know
that
those?
the world doesn't want us to discipline our kids.
Did those kids on the bus have a father like you? I'm willing to bet they did not.
Well, here's the thing. All right, they're already in trouble. That's the thing that they don't understand. Like, forget about what just happened. Their future is already in jeopardy
Because
because they were never disciplined. I'm telling you,
we're on the same page with that.
No, we are. Yeah, we are.
We're on the
We
same
are.
page with that.
We are.
You
I
know
think-
what you and I would have done had
But
that
the
been
divorce
our.
rate's going up too. I'm telling you, you're gonna have single. I'm telling you, being a single parent is almost like that's the way it.
Well, we got to
that's the
stop
way it's
having single parents. I'm saying
gonna be.
it
Well, we
flat
have
out.
to change it up.
I am saying flat out.
We have to change. We have to
I'm
change.
not of the generation that goes, yay, single parents. Am I knocking successful single parents? Absolutely not. Am I saying it's ideal? No. Being a single parent, whether you're a single dad or a single mom, is not ideal for the kid, and the numbers bear out that kids struggle desperately when they don't have a father in the home. Hey, speaking of dads and crazy violence, Rich, man, when you showed me that video about some dude in a wheelchair just having a
crazy.
meal, right?
People are going crazy.
What is going on with that, Rich?
I'm telling you. So listen. So just to get, we're gonna show a video of that. So
Yeah, let's take a
basically,
look.
yeah. So basically, we'll take a look at that. So
Let's take a look.
Basically, a guy's in a wheelchair. He's sitting at the table, right?
Just relax.
Another gentleman's looking for something.
Yeah.
Looking to hurt someone. He comes into the cafe.
Yep.
Sees a guy like with his back against himself, right?
Yeah.
I mean, with his back turned, and he comes up and just stabs him in the neck.
Twice.
Exactly. So
And then has a chicken shit and runs away.
right. There's a couple of problems with that, Jeff, and I want to talk about. The first problem is this: how do you defend yourself on that? Well, first of all, I'm telling you now, you cannot be facing against the you always have to be facing
Yeah.
the exit.
Isn't that
all right?
funny? You got to think about where you sit now.
You have to have an exit strategy. You
Mm-hmm.
have to know your surroundings, and you have to be. And even then, so let me tell you something. Look, before all this happened, this all happened after COVID. I don't know what's going on. I felt confident when I left my house or going into my car or going into the grocery store. I felt confident. I don't feel confident anymore. And I'll tell you why, Jeff. There's no motive to this. Like, you could just be standing there and the guy push you off into the, off the ledge of the T-stop if you're at the T.
Right.
Or come into, just stab you and, there's no rhyme or reason. So I'm asking you, Jeff, what is going on? Are people just going crazy? I swear to God, I think that people have rabies. Something's going on. What do you think?
Well, I agree with you, Rich, and I'm not going to pull punches with you either, right? We agree on this one, too, that there's some despicable mental health issues going on. A healthy person would never walk into a restaurant and stab somebody.
It's crazy.
So they are crazy. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it, and I'm a mental health professional. I have great respect for people with mental illness. And by the way, just to put it out there to everybody, the majority of mentally ill are not violent. So let's not equate that if you know someone who's mentally ill, it means they're violent. However, many violent people
Have mental
are
illness.
mentally ill. And that dude, and I use that term lightly, Rich, who goes in and stabs a guy who's sitting in a wheelchair, who can't even defend himself, twice in the neck, and then chicken shit with no courage, runs away from a guy in a wheelchair,
Right.
is absolutely crazy. And what we're finding is more and more people have less and less regard for the value of someone's life.
Okay, but he could have okay, listen. I get that mental illness part, but this is what I'm challenging you about, okay? If you have mental illness, you can be like scratching the skin off your own face, so you can be kicking the tire 1,000 times, right? These people in New York, they seek people to hurt.
That's right.
So what's going? It's like an epidemic. What's going
Well,
on?
you know, you got a lot of angry people, Rich. There's a lot of angry people, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Not that I've been lying to you for all our shows, but I'm angry.
You're
But
angry.
see, I'm healthy.
See, I didn't know this one.
Oh, I'm real angry.
What are you angry
But
about?
I'm healthy, so I have healthy ways to deal with it. I'm angry when I see a 9-year-old girl on the bus get beat down. I'm angry when I hear about an official, a basketball official in Cohasset, get slapped around and hit by a high school player who was angry that he called a foul against him. And see, then I get angry when the governing bodies of both schools call out violence, but they don't call out the kids specifically.
Right.
They say, oh, we're angry. I get angry when, in 2020, when I watch small business owners have their stores burned and looted, and the people who do it say they're doing it on behalf of social justice, yet they have no commitment to having the punishment. See, if you and I decided to burn down this beautiful studio,
Oh, we're in trouble.
you and I would be in trouble. And so I'm real angry about a lot of things, Rich, but you and I are healthy, which is why we go to the gym every day, right? My
Well, I
guess
wouldn't
is,
say-
Rich, there's
I
some
would-
things you got to be angry about that you're getting
Well,
tired of seeing.
I'm disappointed. I wouldn't say I'm angry, and I'll tell you why I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
If you have a bottle of soda, right, and you shake it, right? It's when you turn the cap, it's going to explode.
That's right.
And the reason why is because there's so much pressure inside. Okay, so when you have a law that says you cannot be angry, you cannot,
No, you can be angry, you just
I'm
can't-
just saying you
can't
can't
hurt
do anything.
somebody.
Right. So if someone comes up to you and they push you, right, you have to say again, why you pushed me for, right? And now all these people that because of this law that we can't really fight back. We can't defend ourselves unless someone really tries to harm us. That gives empowerment to these mentally ill people, I think, or these crazy people. Because I tell you right now, if you flip the screen, if someone came on national TV and say, listen, you know what? Do whatever's necessary to make sure you don't get harmed by these crazy people, right? And there was a beatdown day all day long with once one crazy person comes out and stabs someone, everyone beats the hell out of them. I guarantee you're going to have less of it. All right?
There may be some truth there in an
I don't
interesting
know.
way,
Well,
right?
they made a movie about that. That's called, what's that movie?
Oh, yeah, I
about
know
that?
what you're talking about.
What is it called?
You get a get out of jail free card.
No,
Everybody
it's
goes
the other
nuts.
one. It's the movie where like if you I think every year,
yeah,
every year,
every
right?
year
I
you
forgot
get-
what's the name of that movie.
I can't remember.
We have to hold on. Let's put it on pause. What's the name of it? We have to figure
What's
it out.
it? Michelle, no, yeah, we're going to look it up. The Purge.
The Purge. Okay, yeah. So The Purge. I'm telling you, that's where this is going. I'm telling you, think about it. You have you had a girl driving down the street, right? A guy in a it's crazy. It's not even funny, but this guy has like an electrical car. What's that electrical car? That's the
Tesla?
Tesla, right? And he's going around.
Not a sponsor, by the way.
I not a sponsor. He's going around beating up everybody. This guy comes out the car chasing people with crowbars. It's crazy. And the thing is, everyone's scared of this guy. This guy's like 150 pounds.
Right.
All right. He drives a Tesla. And he's scaring everybody.
Tesla scare me, Rich.
I know. Well, listen, he was smart at that, so he's saving on gas and everything, but he's scaring.
But he's
everybody.
hurting everybody, yeah.
But
yeah,
it happened to be a black Tesla. But anyway,
here's what's happening too is with the purge mentality is it's almost like the people in power don't want to punish people for crimes.
No.
They don't want to protect people anymore. Here's where I know I'm a vulnerable man, and I'm going to share it with all our viewers. If that was my 9-year-old daughter who got the beat down, there's going to be some retribution. I'm being point blank honest. There
Well,
would
like,
be.
what does that mean?
There's some
Like what?
retribution. I'll tell you what I wouldn't do.
Right.
Because I'm a confident, healthy man. And notice I say man. I'm not like eye for eye, but like meaning some people would hurt those children that beat that girl. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm going to the source. I'm going to the source of those families, and I'm going to say, what kind of absolute loser, disgusting person are you that set up a standard in your family that makes this 14-year-old boy and this, I believe, 10-year-old boy think it's okay to beat down somebody who's defenseless,
A girl at that.
and a girl at that,
Right.
who is making no attempt to try to lash out or do anything. You know what she does? She turtles and she covers. And I'm going to come at that bus driver hard and say, for 20 minutes every day, Mr. or Ms. Bus Driver, I trust you to make sure that my child is safe. And all this fighting going on in over 18 seconds, and it's on film, and you're not seen in the back protecting this kid, I'm coming at the bus driver, I'm coming at the bus company, I'm coming at the school, and I'm going to say enough's enough. Give you one more quick example when I talk about being angry.
Well, let me interject on that. That's you against the world. You know what's crazy?
No, that's me against the
All right,
bus
but-
company.
Well, it's you against the world. I'm gonna tell you what, because that's gonna be on the news. And you know who they're gonna attack? You.
Oh, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but they're gonna attack you.
Because they're not. No one's
What
going to
I'm-
beat
what
my
I'm- what I'm-
9-year-old
what-
daughter.
I know,
down.
but what I'm saying
No
to
one's
you
doing
is,
that.
what I'm saying to you is, okay, you have to fix the problem. That's the problem starts from home. Okay.
Well, we've already identified
Right,
what
I
the
know,
problem is,
right.
right?
But what I'm saying
But
is-
why does the problem exist?
Okay, but what I'm saying to you, you doing that, right?
But why does the problem exist?
The problem exists because you said it's lack of a father. I'm saying it's lack of.
But why do we
discipline.
have a lack of fathers?
We have a lack of father. I'm gonna tell you why we have lack
Go
of
back to the
fathers.
60s when
Things
80%
change,
of
perception
black
changed.
families had a father in the
Right,
home,
right.
and then the welfare system, and then all of a sudden the dad became the government.
Divorce rates higher than ever before.
But go back to it. 80% of black families had a father actively in the home and working in
What
the
did-
60s. And then our government said, you know what? Let the government be your father. You don't need a man in the house. And sure enough, guess what? The government replaced our fathers. What's the government trying to do right now?
Okay, well, listen, I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying to you is this: that was back then. Now we're at a different time. I'm talking, the divorce rate is so high. I'm telling most people, most families are broken at this point. I mean, they're broken. Not meaning that they're broken, but they're divided. Okay, but that has nothing to do with discipline. I'm telling. Listen, my father was
Not having a father is
Well, I didn't have a
discipline.
father.
Well, then you're an exception to the rule.
Well,
would
no,
would
just-
you
but I
grant
was
me, would you
disciplined,
grant
though.
me that? You are an exception to
I'm
the
only
rule.
exception to the rules because when I was because I didn't have a father
Mhm.
and because of the situation where I don't want to get into that, but I was like thrown in the world. I either sink or I swim. So
You're an exception to the rule.
I end up swimming. Yeah, well, there's always going to be outliers out there. But my point is that in today's society,
Mhm.
okay, it's hard for a parent to discipline their kids because the outside world is saying that's not right. You're supposed to just, you go to the, okay, for instance, a parent is disciplined now when they go to school, right?
Mhm.
The teacher's like, your kid did this, your kid did that, and you're supposed to say, oh my God, I can't believe you did that, or thank you, and I'm sorry, that's not the way you parent. The way you parent is this: you discipline your kid.
Mhm.
If your kid goes into school and there's a problem,
Mhm.
if someone hits your kid, right? So if someone hits your kid and your kid hits back,
Mhm.
then you go as a parent and say, listen, you back up your child.
100%.
You say, listen, my kid got hit, and
They
he
defended
defended
themselves?
themselves.
Absolutely.
So you have to. So what happens is you discipline your kid, but you also respect your kid and you back your child up.
That's right.
And then you have a good, a relationship with your child.
Right.
But there is no relationship with the child and the parents anymore.
Or dads in particular.
I know you talk about dads, but
Let me give you an example. You mentioned about your father. So my dad, and I'm not saying, because it was me, it has to be everybody. But this is the norm. My father told me right from the jump. Now remember, this is a 20-year military veteran.
Now, let me ask you a
He
question.
would
Now,
say,
this-
let me just throw this out
okay,
real quick.
all right.
He'd say, under no circumstances, he told me this right from the jump, are you to ever lash out at somebody first, ever. However, if somebody lashes out at you, you have a right to defend yourself. And you know what I did with that? I defended myself. I never hit first. And the other thing that significant, I remember this, living in Colorado on the military base, we would all play pickup football in the backyard, beautiful place. And all the moms would be shouting out, like my mom would even go, Jeff, time for dinner, time for dinner. And I'd say to my friends, I got 10 more minutes. She'd come back out to the back door and she'd go, time for dinner, time for dinner. And I go, I got 5 more minutes. And then I'd hear the deep voice, Jeffrey, get your butt in here. Your mom already said it twice. I was in the house in 5 seconds.
Right.
That's the discipline you're talking about.
Yeah, but
I promise you, Rich, the 2 kids to beat this 9-year-old girl,
You're right.
they weren't raised with that level of discipline.
I know, but what you're saying is, Jeff, this is where, and then we're on the same page. The timing is different. We're older. We're in a different generation growing up.
Well, the only difference is there's less dads in society.
Okay, well, let me ask you a
society
question.
wants to parent our kids.
Well, let me ask you a question. Did you have Facebook at your age?
Thank God, no.
All right. Did you have Instagram at your age?
Thank God, no.
No, you had Creature Double Feature like I did.
That's right.
All right, Saturday at 1 o'clock. Okay, that's what
It was
you had.
so good.
What I'm saying to you,
Channel
society
38.
is totally different now.
But you know what's not different?
No, so this is what you do. This is how you
Good parenting.
This is how parents, most parents give their, the kids have a cell phone and they play
Crap.
games.
They
Okay?
watch crap.
What happens is, like I said, it's one of those things where, you can't. Everything's percentages. If you cannot discipline your kid, right? It's very simple. Then someone else will discipline your kid, like the jail will discipline your kid, or
If they even get there.
Yeah, if they ever get there. So it was something interesting. Well, maybe we should put this on. There was a guy that's a police officer, right? I might interject this.
Yeah.
He was a police officer, and he's a religious guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I should double check. He's a religious guy, and he wanted to practice his religion. So I guess he went on YouTube and said something like, God only believes in same-sex marriages, and he said his belief. Now, look, I think anyone, if you love someone, you can marry anyone you
It's
want.
interesting that
But that's
he knew
his
what
belief.
God thought. I
Right.
like that. He
I
knew
know,
what God
okay,
thought.
but whatever, that's his
Yeah.
belief, though, right?
Right.
So the
And he's
police
entitled to
department,
those.
the police department said, "Listen, you need to take that off." And he's like, "No, I'm not going to take it off. This is what I believe." He's like, "I'm not going to treat anyone differently, but this is my belief."
I respect
and
that.
they said, "Listen, if you don't take it off, you're going to be fired." So anyway, he ends up quitting.
Right.
But my point to the matter is this: he created value because he believed in something so much
That's right.
that he's willing to lose his job. But at the same time, he's a minority in that
Mm-hmm.
because I got to tell you, Jeff, if I was working at the police department,
Mm-hmm.
I would think that I would just take it off,
Mm-hmm.
right? I probably wouldn't stick by my guns only because, to me, I don't think that, first of all, I wouldn't even say something like that on Facebook,
Right.
okay? But my point is that people don't believe in anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There's no belief system. So if you don't believe in something, you believe in nothing. So when you have everyone who doesn't have a belief system on, even in parenting, right? The side effect is going to be kids reacting the way they reacted on that school bus.
Well, I agree with you that social media has absolutely decimated this generation and the previous generation and the next generation. When you see 2-year-olds on cell phones, that's disgusting, quite frankly. And again, it's crappy parenting, and I love to call it crappy parenting. Where we may agree in many ways and maybe have a slight difference is my thought on parenting lands and a lot of the issues that we're faced with from a societal standpoint is the absolute breakdown in families. And more importantly, it's almost a subtle reinforcement from those in power trying to force it. Give you an interesting example, and we'll start to wrap.
Well,
You know how you talked about a guy standing on his own beliefs, which, by the way,
Right.
I love when people stand on their own beliefs.
Right.
I never want to cancel them. That's what's great about this country is we can disagree with them.
Right.
So even though I disagree with his beliefs, I love that he stood on it. Some dude who works outdoors installing cable, right, was in a very wealthy neighborhood in the San Francisco area. And I say that on purpose because if he wasn't in a wealthy neighborhood, this would have never happened. And he was installing it on the outside, and someone in the residence called his company and said he's not wearing a mask. And he said, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm outside. I'm not going into the residence. And the boss said to him, if you don't wear a mask, you're fired. And he posted this lovely video. He goes, well, I just got fired because I'm not wearing a mask. And not everybody can stand on their principles and not pay their electricity. But I love the fact that he stood on principles. And until people stand up,
That's tough.
it's not going to change.
So I had a question for you.
Yeah.
So I have to go back. So I don't think it's going to change, Jeff. The percentage, I think actually it's going to go up. The percentage of families that's going to get divorced. Okay, I think that's going to go up as time goes on.
It is rising,
Okay,
sadly. Yeah.
So if that's a constant, Jeff,
Mhm.
all right. Thinking, when you have a divorce, you know how it goes. I'm talking about, usually they're nasty, and the father has to fight to see their kids, and just the fight alone, right? Look, I'm talking about someone told you, just COVID, how many people stopped going to the gym. So just to fight to do something alone, you can have a certain percentage of people who's going to give up. A certain percentage of dads is going to give up, fighting or whatever. Not that that's an excuse, but that's just reality. So if it's a constant that these families are going to break up, right? We have to find other solutions, don't you think?
Oh, 100%. We
Right.
have to. We have to.
All right. Okay, that's what I want.
Yeah, and you know what? We'll wrap with this.
All right,
You
sounds
know,
good.
which was, I hope people appreciate this lively conversation between Rich and I, and we welcome your feedback and your thoughts on it. And ultimately, I'll leave you with this challenge: if you don't stand for anything, you stand for nothing.
Exactly.
And don't give away the power of your own voice. I would rather hear your opinion in person that I disagree with 100% than to have you post something on Instagram or Facebook without putting your identifying information. We become sort of a country of cowards. Ultimately, we'll close it with this. I hope, on behalf of the Darth Vader of podcasts, I hope that we never have to come in front of you again to talk about any 9-year-old girl or any 9-year-old child, for that matter, who got beat down on the way home from school on her school bus. She's supposed to be safe. And with that, you stay safe out there, and we hope you find your peace. Until next week, take care of yourself.